All my favorite songs are slow and sad. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Welcome to the Sad Song Queens podcast, where we dive deep into the songs that make us cry. I'm Laura Webb.
And I'm Lindsay Wolfington.
Today we are talking with José González about his song For Every Dusk.
José González is a Swedish-Argentine singer-songwriter. José rose to success in the early 2000s with indie rock band Junip and later as a solo artist with the release of his stripped-down, entirely acoustic album Veneer in 2003, which featured the breakout song Heartbeats. Since then, he has released 4 more studio albums, including his most recent, Against the Dying of the Light, which was released on March 27th, his first album in 4 years.
His latest album reflects on humanity's uncertain future. This record blends his signature acoustic style with strong influences from Malian music, creating an atmospheric vibe with thought-provoking lyricism.
José's music can be heard on One Tree Hill. We used a bunch of songs, including Heartbeats, over the years, The O.C., The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and many, many more.
As longtime fans of José's, we had a lot of songs to pick from, as he lives in the melancholy just like us. We ultimately decided on a song from his newest album, as it struck the two of us instantly.
So grab those tissues and let's get into it, because we all need a good cry. And now, For Every Dusk by José González.
Sail on, move on. Beware when you're used as a pawn. See how they stole your innocence. How delusions won over common sense. So sail on, move on, break free from the princess you were born. Messianic myths of how things end. Insane, just how many of us pretend. Now if you simply sail on by, we could all avoid these fights. Allow everyone to move on. For every dawn, there's a dawn. For every dawn, there's a dawn. For every dawn, there's a dawn.
So beautiful right there. Oh,
Ah, I
Thank
know.
you.
I love that ending so much.
Yeah, it was fun recording it. It felt right to give it a choral ending.
Well, welcome, Jose.
Yeah, happy to be here.
how many Jose's are in that ending? How many Jose's in the
I
choir?
think maybe 5. Yeah, something like that.
I assume you intentionally wanted to end it kind of just voices and, a guitar chord here and there. Why?
Yeah, I mean, so the demo that I started with, I put the name Sacral on it. So already before I had the lyrics, it was meant to be, or it sounded as a sacral choral song, church-like, meditative, and the part of letting go of the guitar and just having the voices was a late decision. I had been struggling with the guitars and writing a bit too many verses, and so it felt right to have some sort of variation. And gives it gives a bit more power to the words at the end when you let go of the guitar.
Well, that's so interesting because we'll dive into our theories, but
Sure.
I literally wrote, this song has a gospel choral feel, almost religiousness, or that's not a word, but anyway.
Yeah.
And it has this rocking, meditative feel, and there's a real timelessness to it, was my first comment. But that's so funny you say that because
Yeah.
I felt that. Like it's like a almost, like how Buddhists chant or something.
Mm.
Like, yeah, I felt you feel very soothed in it. But I thought in some ways I could see you sitting down to write this song after a dinner party where a heated debate might have taken place, and you really disagreed with some of the things that maybe were said, and you were trying. Maybe you sat down to maybe even just sort of make sense of what that was, but then this was sort of the words you needed to hear to move on, sail on. Yeah, just feeding the lost cause, a core that's rotten is not worth fighting for. And just maybe the repetition that you put, it is not worth whining for. Just telling yourself, don't get fixated on this. This too shall pass if you sail on by. But I also could believe that it's how you protect yourself from what you see on social media or the news, and just sort of focus on the things in your life that you can make a difference. And I just think that for every dusk there is a dawn is really a nice way of saying, like, I like that. Maybe I need to put that on my comfort mix and my mantra of just, okay, it's gonna, it might be a problem today, but tomorrow we'll wake up and there's a new dawn. So yeah, that was kind of my
no, there's some parts of it that sort of it was part of my thinking while writing those words, and just saying up front, many of these words are meant to, they mean something to me, but many times they have dual meaning, so they can be used for other meanings, so to speak. But yeah, one is definitely the part of inheriting conflicts. So it wasn't me after dinner, but more like me with 2 decades of seeing similar type of conflicts around the world, and where there is this inheritance of conflicts. So kids growing up with a certain conflict that is imposed on them, and not necessarily something they choose. So it's a song about indoctrination, about inheritance, about zooming out so that you can sail on by if there are things that drag you in for reasons that you didn't choose. Yeah, so there are more. I can give you more keys to the meanings, but that's like the gist of the song, and also, of course, like for every dusk there's a dawn. So there's the part of you sometimes you inherit, you get by the culture or with your peers, by your family, you might end up in a certain type of ideology, and sometimes it's not because you actually put the effort into trying to learn about all ideas and try to figure out which ones makes most sense. It's more about being a teenager, and then you find something very attractive for some reason, and then you get stuck, or like coming from a family, and so it is a song that I'm trying to help someone who is stuck with an ideology to zoom out and see if there might be some parts of it that you can let go of, and then it might feel like you lose something, but for every dusk there is a dawn, so there's a brighter side.
That I had I was like listening through the song, and away from zero sum, when your gain is someone's lost, we keep feeding a lost cause. My first impression was a little bit like, oh, is this about like technology and social media and like, kind of when you're mean to somebody for gain, right? Like, but it's someone's loss. And then I got to imprinting and the word messianic, and I was like, oh, I think this is more global and more about conflict and, religion potentially.
Yes.
But I thought the word imprinting, like, that's not a word you hear in songwriting a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So I come from a biology background, biochemistry, but I've been interested in evolution, and not only the evolution of DNAs and proteins, but the evolution of psychology. So when you talk about other animals, you talk about imprinting. The duck, the chick that sort of hangs out with the duck mother gets imprinted by the visually and probably with sense, and with humans it's interesting how we adopt, so we get imprinted by certain ideas in different times of our lives, and so the issue of worldview, how and language, I guess, is the most obvious how you can get imprinted by a certain language, and then
Mm-hmm.
it's difficult to unlearn. It's there. But something similar seems to happen in terms of politics, in terms of religion, and people can switch, of course, but there is something there that gets stuck, and it's sort of like you have to work to try to change it. So yeah, messianic beliefs is one of the elements that is key to the song and the whole album. Where I feel like it's not only religions that have these, many times dudes that have messianic beliefs, but to be specific, there are a couple of messianic beliefs that are intertwined. They come from the same roots, and it just happens to be the ones that are most in conflict with each other since I was born, and it was before that too. So yeah, I mean 47 now, and I feel a bit tired with these messianic dudes, and I think it's important to see how most of us on planet Earth are part of these narratives. Because it's about 80% that believe in a supernatural creator, and many of these beliefs come in bundles. So yeah, it's so the song has this sound which is very soothing, but the stories behind it are stories that are difficult to talk about, and so I'm trying to invite through emotions to let go, actually, like being able to, you can try it out, just try out to let go for a while some of the core beliefs that you have, and see if there are other ones that might be more in line with human flourishing, not only for you as a person, but for societies that are seem to have conflicts going on since many hundreds of years.
Right. Were you raised Catholic, being that your family's from Argentina, like originally, or?
It's a good question. My granddad was a priest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so Catholicism was part of everyone's. So on my grandparents' side, that was what everyone was, basically Catholic Christians. But my mom, since I was born, she never really believed in anything. My dad, so my granddad was a priest, but my dad was a bit. He was a bit more like someone who is apologetic to religious views. So he wasn't really like a heavy believer, but he was more. While my mom was very atheistic and was, I guess, more similar to me in terms of not really needing to try to explain the world through supernatural stories. While my dad had more of a, or still has more of a leaning towards humanistic. So not humanism, but the humanities. So through literature and anthropology, where you can find ways of explaining who we are and how we got here and how we connect to each other through religions. So I think there's lots there to try to understand for someone like me that is atheist or 99.999 agnostic. I think there's always something that you can learn from cultures in general, and since I guess more than 80% are believers around the world, it's important to at least try to understand how these ideas get stuck.
It's interesting that we talk about how lulling and like the beautiful repetition of your guitar part. It is comforting. I was kind of like, I know we picked this as a sad song, but it's really just a beautiful song that has a melancholy tone to it, right? Like the word, like it doesn't make me want to cry. I actually find it comforting. But to your point of, it sounds like just this calm like melody in the background, but with my lyrics, I'm really trying to make you think. That actually kind of happened to me the first time I listened to it. And when Laura and I were listening to a bunch of your songs and trying to figure out what we wanted to talk about today. I was like, oh, this is just so beautiful. It really hits me emotionally. And For Every Dusk, There Is a Dawn, I think is such a beautiful expression. And on the surface of it, I was thinking how comforting it is to somebody going through something, like when there's dark, there will be light, or, when life ends, like life will also continue on. And then, this weekend, digging more into the lyrics, I'm like, oh, I was totally on the surface on my first listen, and now we're going much deeper. So it worked.
Yes, mission accomplished.
Exactly.
No, but yeah. So I mean, when I choose words, and especially for the words that I repeat, that's where I think music has this power that you can have one sentence that works for someone somewhere, and they don't need to have all those other words, and so that song can have a function, even though that the person doesn't read all the or listen to all the words. And being a comforting song, it felt right to have that sentence over and over again. For every dusk, there's a dawn.
Oh. And the Sail On. I actually,
Yeah.
in one of my thoughts, I was like, oh, this is kind of like his version of Let It Go from Frozen. Right? Like, let it go, whatever you were indoctrinated with. Let it go, these negative feelings or whatever you're getting sucked into.
Yeah. Just to mention, I'm inspired by music from the Sahel region, so music from Mali, and it's a style of guitar playing that's basically around a campfire. So the style is also, it's not necessarily meditative and sacral in a sort of Western type of way. It's inspired by these maybe 5-10 people sitting around a campfire and playing guitars and singing. So yeah.
That sounds wonderful. Can I come next time?
Yeah, I haven't been myself, but I've seen videos.
Oh, wow. We saw that in your bio that was sent over about the new album, and I was wondering, like, did you go and study in Mali or? I
got to meet a couple of great musicians. So Sidi Touré was one of the musicians that I toured with 3 shows in Sweden. After that, I met Tina Riwen. I guess they're the most well-known.
Yeah.
We played together in London and in Stockholm. So also had the chance to sit down and jam a bit and learn their style. And then Bombino from Niger. So,
wow.
But apart from that, I've never been in the area, and I only watched online how they have their concerts and there's a festival in the desert that they had for a while, and
cool.
Yeah, basically they hang out and drink tea and jam.
That sounds lovely.
Yeah.
Did you listen to the Damon Albarn's Mali music that he made a long time ago?
Oh yeah, I didn't listen to it completely, but I know about it, and he's someone who's a fan of the same artists that I'm a fan of.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say at the end, the last verse, when it's the choral element, my tears prick my eyes every time I listen to it. Like I'm like, just the beauty of it and just the intimacy, I think. I don't know. Yeah, it's just it's really poetic.
I'm glad. It's some songs they have a power in themselves, and this one felt like that. It actually stood out a bit when I recorded the songs for the album. You never really know how they're gonna turn out recorded, and this one really like popped out as wow. It was better than I expected, and something happens when you have dual guitars and you have more voices, and I'm glad it worked.
When you say that, like sometimes it pops more. What, like as the artist, what makes it pop to you?
Well, it's with that song, it was partly the lyrics and partly the sound. So I had been rehearsing on my own with just one guitar, one vocal, and it felt like it needed something more, and I decided to stop trying. I just took two guitar takes and put them side by side. And
Oh,
then all of a
wow.
sudden, like, oh, this sounds more like a conversation and not so much like one person trying to play everything perfect. Yeah, I guess with the lyrics and vocals, it was the part of letting it be choral. So having this 3-part or 5-part harmonies going on, and yeah, letting go of the guitar at the end.
Yeah.
But for other songs, it can be yeah, sometimes sound like I guess one that I struggled a bit with was Pajarito, another song on the
Mhm.
album that was
Mhm.
a bit too simple. And I was like, when I was the first song that I was gonna release, so I had to take decisions before I had the other recordings. In that case, it turned out nice too, but yeah, they pop out in different ways.
I also wanted, when we were listening just now, are there any other people playing on this, or it's all you? Because I noticed, are you doing hand claps, or what's the percussion element in there?
Yeah, it's all me this time.
Oh, wow.
It's
That's cool.
usually just me, but
Mhm.
once in a while I had someone to do a flute or a trumpet.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Um, but this time I wanted it to be just me for a couple of reasons. One, because I'm touching on difficult subjects, and I didn't want to drag in someone with views that weren't aligned in a way, or like we
Yeah.
could and so yeah, some hand clap, some guitar, some and one triangle. So that was a feature
Oh.
instrument.
I feel like, is the triangle one of those instruments that's so simple it's actually hard to play? Like you have to get
Yeah,
it right, or is it actually as simple as it seems?
no, it can be really hard.
Oh.
I was so if you listen to Brazilian music, they can have a trio.
Mhm. Mhm.
Someone who plays the drum, someone who plays a guitar or flute, and one triangle. So one has the job of just playing the triangle, and so you can make it really easy by just like playing like once in an orchestra, or you can do it very very like what do you call it? Someone who's been studying it for for their whole life. So I'm
Aficionado or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you have people in Brazil that are like amazing triangle players.
That's so
Wow.
fun.
Uh,
So we've both been a fan of your music for a long time now. I worked on One Tree Hill and we used your
oh
cover of
yeah.
Heartbeats like multiple times, as
Oh
like it was basically a couple songs, so it repeated a couple times. But
oh cool.
we
Great.
love that track. I mean, that was kind of, it kind of broke out. It was in this big Sony Bravia commercial. What was that like for you? And yeah, what was that
Yeah.
like?
Yeah, it was a interesting period in my life where I released my album in Sweden. It went up to second place in the charts, which was crazy for me
Amazing.
as a home recording indie
Mhm.
artist. But
Mhm.
it was only Sweden, so I had 2 years of only touring Sweden and then some Norway, and then I started going to London. It wasn't until 2 years later that the Sony advert came on, and then I got yeah, so much attention from all around the world. So that sort of propelled my limited success to more global success. So yeah, that song has been following me for a long time, and I still play it live almost every show, and I still enjoy the lyrics. The song is very simple and beautiful, and
Mhm.
it feels like part of me by now. And I actually never asked Karin Dreyer what she was thinking about when she wrote the lyrics, and
Mm.
that's actually. I mean, I'm probably gonna ask her at some point, but it's been sort of nice to have my own ideas what that song is about.
Right.
Mm.
When you
Yeah.
first heard it, obviously you were a fan of the knife, I assume. And when you first heard it, do you remember where you were and then how you were like, I'm gonna cover this now?
Yeah, I mean, I might not remember the first time I heard it, but
Mhm.
it was a hit. So in Sweden, it was played all the time on Swedish radio. And at that time, I was living in a little apartment, so I would have the TV on with the sort of Swedish version of MTV, and that song and that video was just being played all the time. And they lived nearby, so I actually, when they released not that song, but their very first 7-inch, we switched 7-inch with each other.
Aw,
And
love that.
Olof Dreyer. So this was in 2001 or two, and their album came out 2003, and that's when I was finishing my album, and I needed one more song. I needed something more, and so I tried out a couple of different songs at home, and that one felt right once I started to mimic it, but mimicking to a certain degree where I'm trying to do a bass line, but it's not too similar to the original. And so it took a little while, but once it clicked, it felt very, very good, and almost too good, because it stood out from the album as a better than all my original songs. So my which is fine. I mean, I listen to Nina Simone all the time, and I love her versions of other people's songs. It's part of the deal as a singer. But yeah, so it was interesting time to release a cover version that was still being played on the radio with the original. But we try to figure out a way to not let it overshadow my other songs. So we released Crosses first, and that one really took off before Heartbeat. So that was nice for me as a songwriter to know that I could also write.
Yes, you definitely can.
Absolutely. And your cover is very unique from the original. Like I remember I heard your version first, and then I was like, oh, it's a cover. What's the original? I remember being like, whoa, like this was a departure, you know? But that makes it more distinct, more yours in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, that was part of the ambition, to try to find something very dissimilar to my own music. And not choose Paul Simon or Nick Drake.
Right.
and yeah, I was very, very inspired by Cat Power, how she did a covers album, and Johnny Cash, and so it was in that vein, choosing from songs that are very different. It's a tradition to play other people's songs, and it's also always like a thin line between being just a troubadour, someone who could sit in a bar playing 2 hours of other people's music, or like trying to put your own like stamp on it, and it's it's not easy. I mean, it can be easy, but it's not always easy to know when it's gonna work or not.
Right.
Your guitar playing is so distinctive. Is that a particular style, or have you come up with your own?
Yeah, I guess it's a mix of many things. So at first, as a teenager, learning Beatles and bossa nova, and sort of I had an ambition of trying to become a jazz guitarist. But I went to a private teacher and asked him if he could teach me jazz, and he said no, but I can teach you classical. So that I was like, okay, let's do it. So I went to this place once a month and learned Spanish classical guitar, and then. Fast forward many years, I've started to go from cheesy songs to songs where I was more inspired by the other music that I was listening to. And that's when I wrote Hints and Deadweight and Velveteen, that have a bit more of a, what do you call it, more repetitive song structure. And it wasn't that much about feeling heartbroken, and more about some sort of like struggle, but like frustration in a different sense. So those two songs sort of felt right, and I had some friends that were very picky, and they didn't really like my older songs, but those two, they were like, oh, this sounds good. And I took it as a sign, and that's when I started to write the songs for the first album. And so guitar wise, there was this combination of like trying to learn some classical, knowing some chords, and at one time also, my sister used to dance flamenco, and
Oh,
she
that
asked
makes
me
a lot
like,
of sense. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I can
and
hear
she
that.
asked me to, yeah, she asked me to play once, and I rehearsed and rehearsed, and it didn't sound good at all, but we did play a show, and I learned some of the sort of basic um, flamenco guitar. So that's also one ingredient, and I guess later ingredients are the Brazilian
Mm-hmm.
music and the African music. So for my second album and on, I was very inspired by music from Mali and other countries. So by now it's a mixture of many things, but the way of using the thumb is partly because I used to play bass, so I think a lot of like bass
Uh,
lines. So I think about the thumb as a bass line, then the arpeggio, and then the melody. So
mhm.
that you inspired by classical guitar, where sometimes it sounds like it's two or three guitars, but it's only
Right.
one. So there's a certain amount of trying to impress on guitarists when I'm writing.
Mission accomplished. Yeah, you're right. It
Yeah.
does. I always like it feels like you're doing so many things because you're playing so
Mm-hmm.
many notes. The sounding like more than one guitar is totally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But as I mentioned earlier, like I push myself to a certain level, and I put my level a bit too high. That's why I have 3, 4, 5 years in between albums, and then
Mm-hmm.
I just like let go and allow myself to cheat, and that's when for Every Dusk I just put two guitars and like, oh,
Yeah.
it sounds good. I'm gonna relax
That
now.
sounds. I appreciated. I saw your Reddit AMA that you did. I don't know if it was for this album or the last album, but I appreciate how you put all the technical for guitar players. I was like,
Ah.
that's so kind of you to share all your techniques. I mean, a lot of it went over my head because I don't technically play anything, but I thought that was very generous of you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get the question many times, and yeah, so there are tricks, and they're in a document out there.
I know that was very generous. What do you think is your, I mean, what do you personally of your songs think is the saddest?
Ah, okay, yeah. There is one on this album, Ay Querida.
Okay.
So yeah, it's while I was playing it and started to write the lyric, I just didn't write more than just Ay Querida, Ay que vida te
Mm-hmm.
tocó. Uh, uh, oh my dear, oh what a life you were given. And yeah, and in a way I was uh, inspired by flamenco music, where there's a lot of emotions and many times sadness. And in this case, I was thinking about very sad and tragic stories of women. Um, so yeah, partly the sound and then also the meaning. Uh, so that one was actually, yeah. I always try to play or write in a way where I feel something, and that one I really felt something so much that it was sometimes hard to record, and I let it sit for a while, so I sort of almost forgot to record it before the last deadline for the album, and so it became instead of becoming a song that was very detailed in structure, I ended up having more like a sketch. It is very um, simple and yeah, but yeah, for me, pretty emotional.
Is it personal?
No, but so I started writing it in a moment where I was thinking about other people's personal stories, but it became personal um, because of diseases in the family. So, but yeah, no one died, so it's fine. Yeah, maybe I can mention another song
Yes.
from the previous album from Local Valley.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a cover, and it was basically me trying to figure out what the album needed, and I felt like it needed a song that was dealt with death, and I felt like I wasn't able to write, so I just took Lale, her song "En stund på jorden," a moment on Earth, and that
Love
song has
Lale.
been
I
really,
like.
yeah,
Is
yeah,
she Swedish?
yeah. She's Swedish. She's
Okay.
from the same area as me, so sub area in Gothenburg. So yeah, her song is very touching, and it's about her relationship to her mom that passed away, and so when I did a version of that song, it really touched, and I played it on many funerals by now.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's a song that really evokes emotion, and it's a bit difficult to sing because it's so mellow, at least in my cover version. So it's been times when I've been at the funeral singing, and it's almost on the level where I almost can't sing, but yeah, it's so that one brings emotions every time, and it's part of the. It was the ending scene on the film that we did, a documentary,
Oh,
and A Tiger in Paradise, and there was something very touching how we were in our summer house with my family, and Laura, she was very young by then, and so she was like jumping around and singing along this song about the little moment on Earth. So that was so it has a sort of a bittersweet. It's not only sad. It's got this
right.
yeah, celebrating life, but in a nostalgic way. Yeah.
Right. So you've been asked to sing this at funerals?
Yeah, yeah. So I guess because of my style, I've been asked for since I started.
I can see.
So it's been 20 years of so maybe about 10 or I need to count, but about 10 or 15. So it's not.
I assume
Mm.
only people you know, or like people can call you up and.
No.
Okay.
So it's been yeah, only people I known or are near to people I know.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not for hire.
I mean, you are a sad song king, so this
Yes.
only like
Yeah.
supports that.
Yeah, no, I mean, so touching on the subject that we started talking about, the religions, I think that's having rituals, I think is so important. So I played at a secular namesgiving ceremony, but all the funerals have been, yeah, they've been part of the church, which is common in Sweden. It's like many people don't believe, but still they gather around the church for these moments that are difficult, and music plays such an important part of that. Um, but yeah, maybe I have an anecdote that might be fun or like funny. So my girlfriend's mom, her friend passed, and I was going to play En stund på jorden, and we were only 5 people. She was like the closest friend. She didn't, and so we weren't that many. And I went to the church, had my sound check, and then came the organ player, and he was like, he turned up the volume on the mixing desk. So and he played his stuff, and then when it was my turn to play, and it was a pretty big church, but only 5 people, and I started playing, it was like boom, super loud, and there's something interesting with these sad moments and rituals when things don't work and everybody sort of is crying, but still like losing. It was a funny, like comical moment.
Did everybody laugh?
Yeah, it was only us, so it's like us and a priest.
and probably much needed, right? Like you come to this
Yeah,
occasion
there was
and
a
it's so
relief
somber
type
and
of a feeling.
serious.
Yeah.
I want to just talk about rituals. I think that's so true. But it's something I hadn't thought about, I think. And I do think that religion gives you a lot of rituals, whether it's, funerals, weddings, baptism. And they're almost hard. It's almost harder to come by outside of religion, right? Unless it's just some kind of spiritual practice, like a sound bath or something.
Yeah. So I'm part of a secular humanist movement, and they're around in many places, and they have sometimes they have these rituals, or they offer to have someone at a wedding that instead of a priest they have someone else who talks about philosophy. So it's just that they're not as common, and the houses are lacking. So there aren't that many sort of buildings that are beautiful to see or beautiful to be in. So I think it's a matter of understanding what roles religions have in different societies, and what roles they've had historically, and how to figure out how, in my case, like how can I and the people who don't believe in a god, how can we do similar stuff, since it seems to give comfort, it seems to give connection to each other, and it seems to be important. So I think that's it's a matter of yeah, not throwing the baby with the bathwater, and trying to be creative in terms of lyrics, poems, setting. Yeah, yeah. So there's a lot to say about the traditions and rituals.
And why do you think they're so important?
I think we're tribal animals. We're cultural animals. We need narratives. We need comfort by being with each other and not alone in times of stress, in times of break. What do you call it when things break? Um, but it comes down to that we're apes. We're cultural apes.
Yeah. It requires like slowing down. I think that's the hard part about like the current day is like slowing down to do it. My kids went to an elementary school that had a lot of what I think are basically rituals, but even just like at the end of every year, they would have a stepping up ceremony where they would hug their fourth grade teacher goodbye, walk across a stage, take a bow or do a pose or whatever they wanted to do. And then on the other side of the stage, they would greet their fifth grade teacher, like for the next year. And like it seems so kind of like, okay, whatever, what is this? And like, what I have to take my morning off of work to come watch it. But like, I love it. Like, you know, and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I didn't have that growing up, but that it seems so simple, but really a nice moment to like
Mm.
honor this transition, you know?
Mm, mm. Yeah, no, it's great to see actually now that the kids are going to preschool and school, how much the teachers they're so creative. They do all these kinds of things, and it's not only learning maths and ABC. It's a lot of it
Right.
is having these little things they come up with to have group hangouts or group events, and yeah. So I think it's a matter of being creative and
Yeah.
acknowledging that we humans need that sort of stuff. It's
Yeah.
probably going to be more and more important as we get into these technologies, uh, uh, putting us into bubbles.
Mhm.
So I think the human connection is part of the solution to many things.
And we saw that some of this album, the new album, which the whole thing's so lovely and kudos.
Yeah. Really
It's
beautiful.
it hit on a day I really needed some comfort and just yeah, it's very soothing. But we saw that it's dealing with AI and some technology. You have some songs that touch on that. But I saw something where you said, you know, while it is scary, it also there is some positive things. What are the positive that you're seeing? Because maybe we
Yeah,
all need
yeah,
to hear a little bit of that if there
yeah, yeah.
are.
Yeah. So on one hand, I'm very concerned. I listen to experts that talk about human extinction,
Yeah.
CEOs that talk about it,
Wait.
on a one out of 10 or 1 in 20 type of scenario. So it's not the main scenario, but it is part of what they talk about. So on one hand, listening to them and being very concerned. On the other hand, I'm already like seeing some amazing stuff that is happening. So I used to study the 3D structures of proteins, and it was pretty common 20 years ago for one PhD to work their whole PhD trying to figure out one 3D structure. So that happened to me. I left halfway without the 3D structure of the protein. And then all of a sudden comes AlphaFold, an AI that solved 240 million proteins in one go. So basically, that's what led them to give the Nobel Prize to Demis Hassabis and DeepMind. So yeah, and that will help and has already helped a lot of researchers to do their research faster, so they can solve diseases. So that's one example. And I think when I wrote A Perfect Storm, the first song on the album, it felt like a sort of a public awareness type of song where it's about. I'm usually not an alarmist by nature. I try to. I think something happens when you get the mob going, that can be pretty bad. But I think in this case, it's more about like like showing that there are people that do research on AI safety, and they're saying that we need to regulate this stuff. We need to slow down some of the development. And that's something that some CEOs are saying themselves. So I felt like, okay, let's do this and show people some websites where they can learn more and they can sign on lists. So Future of Life Institute is the one that I usually promote, but there are more. So you can feel like you have some sort of control. And I think if you talk about public awareness, it's if people find out that we're racing towards a scenario where no one wins, I think that's what can be hopeful. Like it's hopeful to know that more and more people know about this race to the bottom scenario, and then it's not, no one wants to do that except for lunatics.
As a musician and like someone who creates, how do you feel about that part of AI?
On the level of concerns, it's pretty low down, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Why?
so existential risk. So humanity becoming obsolete, maybe not even surviving next couple of decades. That to me is like, yeah, all hands on deck. Let's focus on that.
Right.
An AI being able to write José González songs that sound better than mine is like, yeah, okay, yeah. It's not fun. In my case, I'll still be able to play live for a couple more decades, hopefully. And I think people will come to the shows and they will get goosebumps that they might have not get with AI robots.
Very true.
Playing guitars.
That's very true.
You can cover José González's cover of AI songs, of AI José González songs.
Yeah.
But it's so true. Like you're right. The live experience, yeah, can't replicate it.
No.
And the imperfections, like there are imperfections in this song too. Like, you know, kind of when you, like in the overlaps of the guitars, or when you kind of take that pause to repeat, you know, the rotten to the core part.
Not worth whining for.
Yeah, the whining. Yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, I think it's a matter of time. It's a matter of time and taste. I think for the systems are getting so good that it's a matter of taste. Like you can prompt it and you can soon maybe tell it, I want more flaws into this song. So then we sort of have to ask ourselves, like, what type of media do we want to consume? Like, do we want to consume AI made music, or do we want to maybe listen to a song that has a human behind it? And I think there's going to be different camps, and So I think it's going to be fine. But it might be that you know, our kids grow up and they're like, yeah, most of the music I listen to is AI, and it sounds amazing, and I'm happy with it. We'll see. I mean.
Hopefully not.
But I do feel so for me, like taking this question more seriously, I feel like it's important to have a stamp, like so in terms of not pretending to be a human if you're not, like having some sort of like watermark. I think that could be good. Also, when you think about fake news or so yeah, like we shouldn't impersonate other people, or if we do, that person needs to know and give approval, and in the people who consume the video or the music should know, I think. But how to do it, I'm not sure, but that's my opinion.
Well, so what are some of your favorite sad songs?
Yeah, so I was trying to remember like one time when I started crying, like listen, and I couldn't help myself. So I was pretty young. I was used to listen to a lot of like metal hardcore, but also some of these like melodic bands that had this a bit of screaming, but it was still like it was loud but emotional. And
Yeah.
Jawbreaker as a band, and the song was called Bivouac. And I remember there was a time when I used to listen to LPs and CDs and sit with the headphones and listen to the full album.
Yes.
And that song came on, and the tears started falling. I couldn't help myself, and it was. I listened to it today just to remember, and I can see what happened, but it didn't happen now. So it was a, but I could read the lyrics, and it has to do with mother and father and leaving home, and the way he sang, it just like triggered something in me. So that was from '92, I think, the album. So it was a while ago. But so there are some other songs. So Johnny Cash, when he did "Hurt," the Nine Inch Nails song.
Wonderful cover. Huh?
Wonderful cover, and so powerful. And there was something about listening to it on high volume, and it just like takes over your feelings. And so that one, yeah, that one triggers me.
And partly, would you say it's because of like when Johnny Cash recorded it, kind of, as he's older and
his life colored that version, right?
No, yeah, and yeah, just like hearing the character of his voice, but then the lyrics being a type of lyric that hits hard, like crown of thorns, and like someone who's been choosing the needle instead of life, basically. Sitting on a throne, but feeling like chose the wrong thing, basically. So that's a heavy song, and he does it so well. And once again, also the sound and the production of the song is amazing, with the piano that just plays, and it's got this like very meditative and yeah. So that one is heavy.
That's a great one.
Did you have a third you wanted to mention?
Yeah, I have more. But I mean, so I can mention how I used to only listen to sad songs.
Yes, we want to hear all about this.
Yeah, yes. Was
I
this
mean, it
like
was a thing
after a breakup, or what was it?
Yeah. So the most hard-hitting songs were about breakups, and so one of the reasons why I chose "Heartbeats" and Kylie Minogue's "Hand on Your Heart" and "Love Will Tear Us Apart" are because these type of emotions, they can be overwhelming, and the lyrics that tap into that overwhelming feeling that can really put forward your deepest, saddest parts of your life. So yeah, I guess one example could be Chet Baker when he sings "The Thrill Is Gone," which is basically the same type of lyric as "Love Will Tear Us Apart," where you have a relationship where the thrill is gone, and it's like nothing can put it back. That's at least the emotion that's conveyed. and it's a soft jazz type of production. So it for me now, when I listen to it, I think it's too sweet, the production, but the lyric is heavy. And now, I mean, I've been to 4 long-term relationships, and there's something about each breakup that if you have a song that touches on that has a lyric that touches on that subject, is yeah, it can be cathartic,
Yes, yeah. Go on.
of course, and it can be cathartic,
Mm-hmm.
and therapeutical. But when you're in the middle of it, it can bring you down too much. It's
Right. Right.
especially these type of lyrics that they don't have a happy turning,
Mm-hmm.
and then so yeah, it's a delicate balance how to work with your depression, if it's a depression, or your
Mm-hmm.
deepest moments when you're been
Mm-hmm.
left for someone else. But there is something about resonating and like touching base with your sadness that these songs, I think they help me with. Yeah.
So, whenever you were going through breakups, or have you had moments in your life where you just kind of sit in sad songs for a bit, or wallow in sad songs, or listen to a song because you want to feel a certain thing?
So that was a part that happened to me a couple of years of my late teens, early
Mm-hmm.
20s,
Mm-hmm.
when it was basically me and my friend that we were both into hardcore music, but then
Mm-hmm.
we found all these like very moody, very slow and songs, but by artists like Low and Song So High and Cat Power,
Mm-hmm.
and there
Oh
were
yeah,
even
totally.
slower and moodier music, but those are the ones that we liked, and especially Song So High was very inspiring for me for my first album, and listening back is sounds like a very tormented soul. Almost
Yeah.
like uh, but but yeah, it gave something in I don't know, touching on emotions on a deep way, and through these melodies, and a lot of it comes from the way he was singing,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is similar to sounds derogatory, but whining. So whining in the best possible way, which is very human, like
Right.
singing about hurt and yeah. But yeah, those are a couple of years of that sort of music, and but, we would go to clubs and listen to other styles. So
Sure.
for example, a friend of mine had a club with it was only northern soul, so only soul
Mm-hmm.
music, the best possible souls, 7 inches,
That
and
sounds
all
fun.
dancing and
Yeah.
super fun and happy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think yeah, allowing yourself to switch between those modes and knowing that it can help to elevate you, like if you so that's been part of my songwriting, to try to reach low parts, but always like trying to have a way to steer certain emotions towards other emotions, and
Yeah.
not all songs are like that, but that's been part of my ambition.
It's funny. Songs Ohio we used in the pilot of One Tree Hill. We had temped in Johnny Cash,
Oh
and
yeah.
couldn't afford him because it was also like playing in the background. So we used a Songs Ohio song, but ended up also using Magnolia Electric Company. And yeah, Jason
Mm,
Molina's
yeah,
sadness was
great.
something we definitely loved and identified with.
Yeah, so good.
So good
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
Mm.
Well, thank you, Jose, for being here. It was really lovely to sit and get to talk to you as longtime admirers, and
absolutely.
getting to hear how you approach songs is always fascinating. So, thank you for joining us. This was really special.
Thank you. It was really fun.
Yeah, love talking to you. One, I almost can't believe we haven't met in like 20, 25 years of knowing your and loving your music. But so this is an honor,
Oh,
and appreciate, your philosophical nature and thinking about humanity. That's really awesome. We love the new album, so congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was real fun talking.
Thank you for joining us today on Sad Song Queens, 'cause you always need a good cry. We will link these songs in our show page and on our Spotify playlist. Please also like, comment, and subscribe wherever you find podcasts and for video on YouTube. Huge thanks to José González, Big Hassle, Fia Kaminsky, Ken Weinstein, Knitting Factory Management, Brian Long, Mute Records, Adrian Janssens, Sally Hedberg, Bank Robber Music, Lyle Heisen, Rough Trade Publishing, and Megan Odson.
Special production thanks to Stephanie Gangle, Jessica Griffin, Avery Piantadosi, Jordan Lindsley, and our producer May Rogers.
Our theme song is All My Favorite Songs by Weezer, and our outro music is by Wyatt Rouse.